evening, everyone. Thank you for joining me tonight on A World Awakening. Me and my producer, Bill, who's the magic man behind the curtains. So I just finished Soul School, and Jeff and I talked about the cyclical nature of ritual. Oh, hi, Sam. Sam's here. And tradition and rituals and religion and, you know, how we got where we are, how we became who we are, and all of that. Well, a big part of the show on Soul School was about healing and the pain that so many people feel at this time of year. This is often a difficult time for those that have lost someone near and dear to them, for someone, you know, who feels that empty spot at the table so profoundly, or just the bubbling up of all the emotions of our whole lives, and, you know, this cyclical nature of having these holidays come every year, and the celebrations, but also the sadness and the grief and all the emotional upheaval that so often manifests itself in our lives. And I personally, myself included, am in need of healing my own pain. And I have been accused from time to time of having, of being kind of obsessed with a few people in my life who you might see in a cyclical way recurring on this show. And there's a reason for that. And it's because what they have to offer is so profound. And so with that, I want to introduce you to two of my obsessions in life, two of the finest human beings that I know that wander this planet. And that is Deb DeRousse and Rupert Guy.
Thank you, Andrea.
Good evening, Andrea.
Yeah, okay, so I'm obsessed with your work, you know, and that's fine. And there's nothing wrong with me wanting to share your light with countless others. It's important to me. And I think particularly at this time of year, it's important that we have a conversation about this. And one of the things that, you know, when I wrote the description for the show, I talked about energy and frequency and vibration, and how, you know, energy is, and it can be manipulated and manifest in myriad ways, and very often takes a number of paths to get to the same place, and with the same outcome. And so I want the two of you to have a conversation about what you do, how you do it. Like, for instance, Rupert, when you do your meditations, I usually slip into a coma. There's just something so soothing and lyrical and magical and beautiful about not only your words, but your voice, that lifts me into a higher realm, that brings me to a better place, that is healing to me. And Deb, all she has to do is put her hands on me, and my whole body starts to vibrate and get tingly and sparkly and weird and wonderful. And I feel like there's like sparklers going off in my veins because she touched me. You know, so basically she's channeling energy a certain way, you're channeling energy another way, and we're achieving the same outcome, which is healing. So I would like to, Bill, I have to let my dog out now. This was not in the Sam, I'm coming, honey. Oh my God. Sam had a big dinner. I have to let my dog out now. So I'm so sorry. Talk amongst yourselves like coffee talk. And Bill, take me down.
I totally understand.
Oh my God. I think I'd kind of cut her at that point, but I'm sure she'll be fine. She's going to get me when she comes back.
She'll be fine.
So
Yes.
I mean, again, like what she just spoke about with the show earlier with Jeff. It's always about the positive vibe, the energy. You guys, you both know that, and you both do that as well on your shows, Mystical Awakenings and Galactic Wisdom. So the message, especially in these times, I'm almost on fire over here. Do you notice that? The message, especially at this time of year, there's a lot of people out there that are going through a lot of different types of issues. And first of all, here it's a family with all of us. This is a community. This is a family. But it's just a great thing when people could come somewhere and get that positive energy instead of all that negativity that we're surrounded with all the time.
Right.
And the holidays are difficult. The holidays are a time when people suffer from a lot of depression.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with a lot of things, social, personal, financial, whatever it is. It's just even the weather.
Right.
But it's great to have a place here where we can all come together. The audience could come in and be a part of something and be loved and cared for and given, like I said, the positive energy and the advice and the wisdom that all of you have to offer. Response, Deb? You can go first.
It's all so true. And, this time of year is the worst. And for all of those reasons you said, Bill, also it's dark. We don't have enough sunlight this time of year. So the sad is a real issue. Healing, we have a metaphysical store. And this time of year, we get hit pretty good with people that need healing or need, it's not unusual for people to walk in and say, can I just come in and feel the energy here? Is it okay if I sit here for an hour? Now I'm a Reiki master and have been since 1998. So I do that kind of healing, but I have to say, mainly my healing is spirit led. I don't like to title anything. I've studied under shamans and I've done a lot of that type of work, and I've done, studied other modalities. So the type of healing that you offer isn't as important as how you channel that healing, because honestly, it doesn't come from me.
What is your process, Deb, for healing? Like if somebody were to come to you and ask for healing, what would you specifically do?
I have to be real honest, Rupert. It depends on the person, the spirit, the time. I'm very spirit led. If spirit says, put them on the massage table, lay crystals on them, do some drumming and rattles, that's what I do. If spirit says, lay your hands and allow Reiki and the universal life force energy to flow, that's what I do. Some people just need to relax. Sometimes they come in and I just help them breathe. With sometimes meditation, sometimes just, breathe, kind of guide them through it. So it really varies.
Similar to what you do, Rupert, you conduct the meditative instructional classes online. How's it been now for you during the season now?
This world is hard. This world has so many challenges and obstacles that it puts up in front of people. And when there's a time of the year when traditionally people come together in families, in loving partnerships, and celebrate something together, for those people that don't have that, for those people that don't have a loving family, maybe people have passed away, or they just don't have somebody to really share those special moments with. You're going through not just the everyday problems of life, but you're also going through it alone at a time of year when you feel like you should be feeling the opposite. And that is very, very hard for people. And, I felt that in the past.
Mhm.
And so at this sort of time of year, people are in need of a lot of healing, a lot of love. And the family that we have here with KGRA, hosts and all the viewers. I mean, have you seen how many comments are pouring in? The people that watch this show, they are our families. They are our family. And it is healing just for them to be able to come and listen to us talk. But I do very specific healing too. And I'm going to talk a little bit about the word that Andrea was using, and that is energy. Scientifically, we define energy as something that does work. It does work on something, whether that work is heating something up, or casting light on something, or turning on your TV, or producing a sound. It does work. And we can use energy to do work on people, healing work on people. There's different forms, different types of energy. It can take different forms. Light is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy. Kinetic energy. There is something that I use, and that is extra dimensional energy or spiritual energy. And that energy is within spiritual matter, extra dimensional spiritual matter that surrounds us. I call it Coretha. And what I do is I channel and manipulate the Coretha that is around us and within us. And I utilize the energy, the spiritual energy that it holds, to heal people in a variety of different ways. That is what I do.
Before I leave, I just want to say, when I do my personal streams on my platforms that I do, aside from KGRA, I have a good time. I'm being who I am. I'm not pretending to be someone else. That's first of all. Secondly, I'll give you an example. Like last night, I was doing the meteor shower, what was left over, and I had the mic on the camera that I used to look at the sky, and all of a sudden, like right outside my door, there was a pack of coyotes, and you could hear them howling. So everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" Like they all started like laughing. See, but it's not about that. It's about making people laugh, making people forget about everything that's going on. It takes them away from all the noise that's going on around us. So if I can make someone laugh, or I can make it fun and entertaining in that way, hey, to me, if I help one person, just even one, I'm doing something special for that person, and they're not alone, like you said, because I do the same thing. I make it about we're all in this together. So I just want to finish with that. All right, you guys have a great rest of your show.
Thank you, Bill. And that is healing. What he does is also healing.
It is.
What you do, Annie, is also healing.
I hope so.
Absolutely, you heal hearts.
It's the foundation of this show. Because I think that human enlightenment, the Great Awakening, is a healing proposition. Spiritual ascension is a healing proposition. And that's, the fundamentals of a world awakening. And it's different every week. But I feel like tonight's very important to have both of you here. Not only because we're all basically on the same frequency, we're vibrating at the same level, I guess is another way to put it. But I don't think of that as a vertical thing. Like, I'm one rung higher on the ladder than somebody else. No, it's not how it is. We're all on our own, way. And it's a horizontal, in my mind, the imagery of it is that, we're all moving along our own path horizontally, moving forward, but in a cyclical, traditional, nostalgic, repetitive thing that we call life, that we measure, like Carly Simon says, we measure our lives in spoons of coffee spoons, you know, and that's a beautiful image to me, that stuck with me ever since I first heard that song. Rupert, we'll play that song. We'll play that song on one of our World Healing. Rupert and I and Deb, you've been part of it, World Healing and Peace Manifestation group that we try every week. Well, Rupert does it every week. I try to be there as often as I can to be a part of that because it touches so many people. It's amazing. After it's over, I get on the phone with Rupert and I'm sending him messages from folks that are close friends, close enough that they've got my phone number, certainly, and just start sending him the messages of, look at this heart we touched. Look at how this mind was changed. Look at how this person evolved, in an hour. It's and I really do believe Bill is right. It's the coming together that brings us that sense of peace and comfort and joy and not feeling so alone in the world. So I'm sorry I had to go walk my little dog in the middle of my show, but nobody has ever accused me of being professional. So, occasionally they can make a mistake of, calling me ma'am or a lady. And I'm like, who are you talking about? And then I drop the F-bomb on them and they get completely over themselves. So anyway, Rupert, I heard you momentarily talking about how you channel and what you do. I think of you as a conduit, but I think of Deb the same way. It's like the energy comes in and then it flows out to whomever needs it. But Deb, did you get to talk about your method at all?
I did. And I'll kind of fill you in a little bit, Annie. I am a Reiki master, but I've studied many different modalities. Mm-hmm. So, I strongly believe in that, the universal life force energy, again, energy like Rupert does. That's what, comes through us and goes out. It's the light, it's the love, and as it comes through us, we need to be in that loving place as well. So, with different people, different situations, I do different types of healing. Mm-hmm. I'm very spirit-led. And we were talking a little bit about, the energy. But sometimes that energy doesn't need to come from laying your hands on somebody. Sometimes it comes from a hug. Or sometimes it comes from, and you and I use this often, Annie, there's 3 words. 2 sets of 3 words. Yes. Of course, number 1, I love you. And the second one, I believe you. Yes. And those can be very healing words in this world right now. And the very type liberating. Of business. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the type of business that I'm in, it's more than a business. It's my heart and soul. Yeah. I have a metaphysical store. And oftentimes I get people that come through the doors and they're terrified. They've had an experience or they've seen something or they're thinking differently and they don't understand it. And for them to hear those 3 words, I believe you, can be
life altering.
Very life altering. Absolutely. So yeah, healing comes in many, many forms.
Yeah, it does. I am queen of hugs, or so I have been told.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Yeah, it's and it's the strangest thing too, because when I come together with another human being and I give them all the energy that I have, I'm not depleted at all. And when I tell them to give me your pain as though you're giving me a gift, it won't stay with me. It won't burden me. It won't hold me down. You can say anything to me. It will never go any farther. I am trustworthy. And for all these years that I've been doing this, people know that they almost intuitively know, even if they're have never met me before, and I embrace them, and they start to weep and they don't understand why. And it's that energy. So yes, I think that there is something absolutely on a rudimentary level very healing about that very simple process of holding someone in your arms and just letting them let go of what they've been carrying as a burden, sometimes for a lifetime.
Right.
And it's amazing. The reason I made it through UFO contact in September was because Rupert was keeping me on my feet. He was.
I know he did a lot of healing that weekend.
He did. He really did. Everyone he encountered was so touched by his presence. I don't mean to talk about you in the third person, honey. I see you're right here.
That's fine. Go ahead.
It was, for me, he was the star, the bright star in the firmament, the star of the show, and I felt even a little bit proud that I managed to get him there. It was like, we actually pulled this off. He came all the way from
Right.
California. Oh my God. But he made a real difference and an impact on so many people that weekend. It was absolutely stellar in every sense of that word, magical in every sense, phenomenal in every sense of that word. And I'm so proud of both of you. Not only consider you two of my nearest and dearest on earth, but so proud to work with you, to be associated with you, to do what you do, each of you, to be a part of that. Because I do believe that there is power in numbers, and that when we come together, we can make extraordinary things happen. Like Christine Carpenter with her bowls, her crystal bowls, and that vibrational, that beautiful, beautiful music that she creates just by touching so gently those crystal bowls and having that go out into everyone within earshot of that feels it and is healed by it. And this is a particularly difficult time for so many people. And so I wanted tonight to give Rupert a chance, for those who are not yet familiar with Galactic Wisdom, which is Rupert's new show on KGRA. And I think everybody knows you, Deb, from Mystical Awakenings. Give Rupert a chance to at least give us an abbreviated version of his healing technique in meditation. Rupert, would you be okay to do that? I didn't even ask you.
Absolutely. No, that's fantastic. It's funny. I mean, it's wonderful, Deb, that you're a Reiki master. I'm a Reiki failure. I started to take those classes, those sessions, but I was asking too many questions, and my instructor just gave up with me. It's like, no, using too much logic. But logic is how we gain knowledge, and we gain knowledge. We can gain knowledge, not just belief. We can gain knowledge, not just about scientific things, but about paranormal things, about things that science hasn't yet discovered. And so I've spent my life using logic to actually conclude truths about the paranormal. And I utilize a lot of what I have learned when I do healing. So if you could imagine, well, it's not hard to imagine that we have our three-dimensional biological physical bodies living our lives in a three-dimensional world, but there are higher dimensions of space. There are extra-dimensional spaces, volumes, qualiums. There are places where other beings exist. And we, as well as having a biological body, we also have spiritual bodies. Each of us has a spiritual body, and that spiritual body is extra dimensional. If we could see our spirits at their core, they look like our physical biological bodies. When you see the spirit of a dog, it looks like a dog. When you see the spirit of your grandmother who may have passed away, it looks like your grandmother. And what I have learned is that our biological bodies, every component, every individual component of our biological bodies has a corresponding spiritual component. Every cell has a corresponding spiritual cell. Our biological brains, which house our consciousness in that amazingly intricate network of neurons, that has a spiritual copy or replica in exactly the same structure in our spiritual body. And that is the reason why when our biological body dies, our consciousness can continue. Our memories are the same. Our characteristics are the same because it's still us. It's the same structure. It is still part of us. So knowing that our spiritual bodies have this a certain structure that we can visualize, that's helpful in healing our spiritual bodies. In the same way that it's helpful for a physical doctor to know our anatomy. Now, one of the key things that I've deduced logically about the relationship between our spiritual body and our biological body is that there is a force that holds them together. And that is essential for understanding spiritual healing, or the spiritual healing that I do. What it means is, well, let me tell you how we can deduce that, first of all. We can get up and we can walk into the next room biologically. We don't leave our spirits behind. Our spirits follow. Our planet is hurtling around the sun at huge speeds. We don't leave our spirits behind in space. They stay with us. There is an interdimensional force between our biological and our spiritual, holding them together. That means if something is not quite right with us, with our biological body or our spiritual body, we can heal both at the same time by manipulating either one of them. Sometimes we manipulate our biological bodies. For example, if you've got a crooked spine, you might go to a chiropractor and have them straighten it out. And when that happens, your spiritual spine is attracted to that straightening out, and you get some kind of healing. But you can do it the other way around. You can manipulate the spiritual. I'm getting confused with my hands. You can straighten the spiritual spine and have that interdimensional force between the spiritual and the biological pull the biological into place. We have the power, just like we have the power to compel our hands to move around at will, we can compel our spirits to move around at will. We can astrally project, we can take them to other times and places, but we can also go into our spirits and at will manipulate our spirits. I'm sorry this is a long answer, Andrea. If I'm taking too long, you just interrupt.
No, it's lovely. It's lovely. Just, oh my God. I'm so caught up with the accent. I don't even.
If you like, I will slip in the word schedule a few times and squirrel. So when I do healing, first of all, you can do self-healing. And I can teach people how to do self-healing. You just go into a meditative state and you manipulate your own spirit. Or you can do, as I do and Deb does and Andrea does when she hugs, you can heal others by intent and by compelling their spirit to heal. Also, we can invite in other beings to come in and help us. And that I do quite a lot. I know a healing alien called Tuk Tuk, who's just an amazing, beautiful, beautiful being. And I have a good friend called Sashki, who is an Arcturian, and she heals people. And I've even had reptilians coming in recently and helping to heal people. So that's cool. But what you can do is you can, during meditation, you can take hold of any structural imperfections in your body and straighten them or correct them structurally, and hold them in place and let the biological move into that template. If there's an infection, you can imagine the infection within you, whether it's virus, bacteria, fungus. You can imagine lots of little tiny black specks around you, and you can bring in the brightness of your spirit, which has a lot of spiritual energy in it, and you can pull in that energy, and you can overpower those little specks of darkness. You can burn them away. You can break up those viruses, bacteria, fungi. That's what I am, actually. A fun guy. Sorry. And so people really, my jokes are not that great. You can manipulate energy flows. You can imagine that the energy flows within you are like water flowing through streams. And if you've got pain or a blockage or an injury, that's like having branches and leaves bunging up the stream, and you can use the currents of your spirit to push through them, to wash away darknesses. You can also do psychological or emotional healing. That probably is too long to talk about fully here, but you can move through your mind. You can wash away with the brightness of your spirit any darknesses of thought. If there are negative connections you have with other people in either direction, you can just sever those. You can see them severing. You can build up a protective sphere around you and fill it with light. All of these imaginations, you just need to go a little more further than imagining. You need to compel this spiritual reality to be, and healing can occur. And Andrea, if you don't mind, there is somebody in your home that I would like to send special healing to. It is a financially irresponsible Chinese bug whom I care about deeply. And I'm hoping that we can find a peaceful solution to the fate of that bug, wherever it is.
Wherever it is, yeah.
I apologize for my misdirection. I do, of course, want to send healing to you and your sister and your mother.
Thank you.
And to Deb.
Thank you, Rupert. Thank you.
And we all, that's the beauty of this, is that just there's a healing going on in our group, and those that are watching this tonight, that are listening to this, that are, hearing our words. And, the word of the year for 2023 has been chosen, and that word is authentic. And I can't think of a better word to describe what we do collectively, because we're just ourselves, like Bill said. We're just being ourselves and sharing whatever we bring into this sphere, to this plane of action, with everyone that we encounter. And when I first met Deb, we just walked into each other's arms. Had never seen each other, had never heard each other's voices before. We just came together like Klingons, like boom. And we've been that way ever since. We have, and we communicate telepathically a great deal. Really, it's amazing, the connection that we have. And the connection that I have with you, Rupert, is cosmic. It is with Deb as well, but with you, it's slightly different. I feel like with you, I met finally. Had to wait an awfully long time, but I finally met the perfect balance to what I do, because I work in the realm of spirituality, and you're a scientist. And I've always believed that it would be the merging of science and spirituality that would ultimately heal the world of its woes. And so I feel this peacefulness, I guess, this comfort and joy of having you in my life now and having you so intimately in my life that even our text messages just pick up where the last one left off, even if it was 2 days before, and we're right back there again, and we're discussing huge, with a few typed words, huge philosophical concepts and scientific. Oh, I read this great article in Scientific America, what do you think? Boom, off it goes. And I have that with you. It's all different with all of our different relationships, but it's exactly the same because we're on the same vibrational, we're riding the same wavelength, I guess is the best way to put it. And that has a resonance with people. There are people that are watching this show live right now, where in Australia or New Zealand, they're having breakfast watching this. And so hello to all of our Aussie and our NZ people. I love you all. Who knew there was a huge paranormal community in Iceland, of all places? I thought pretty much all they had was hot springs and volcanoes. But no, actually, there's a very large, diverse, eclectic spiritual community in Iceland, and they're tapping into this. And so we're having an impact just by being our authentic selves and loving each other profoundly. That it has a way of healing the whole world. And even though it's incremental and even though it's immeasurable, it still exists. And that's the beauty of what we do. And I thought that it was important for us to come here tonight and to address this because, Deb, you have suffered recent losses. You are, like the spine, the core of your family, and always feeling like you can't have a moment of weakness because you're holding everything else together. And so your circumstances are different than, well, actually they're pretty similar to my own. But Rupert's in an entirely different and a more autonomous frame of mind, and yet he touches thousands of people and takes them out and does what I do. Like when I'm singing and suddenly the sky is full of light, and it's not necessarily the song. It's maybe more the love of the song. And it's probably the vibration of the frequency of the music that is interacting with our galactic family, and they feel free to present themselves. They were there. It's not that they come when called. They're already here. But are they going to reveal themselves, and to whom? So it's really, this is a magical, magical process that we're talking about. And I hope that everybody that's watching, that's interacting with us through their computer tonight or their television, feels what we feel, not only for each other, but for them, what we feel for them.
Well said.
Yes, very well said. And with that being said, I would like to say that every person on this planet, most planets, are born healers. We're all born to heal ourselves and others. That ability it's not like, a mediumship or a psychic ability or the ability to sing, which I don't have. You two both have. We all come here to heal. That's why when we're little and we fall down and skin our knee, what do? We grab our knee and we hold it.
Yeah.
And a mother will kiss a boo-boo. Well, what is that? It's the same thing. That's healing. That's showing love. It's giving energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want to make it clear to people that yes, we do healing work. I love what I do, but we can all do it. And people don't have to find somebody. There are people that live in remote areas and they don't, they don't know anybody. They can self-heal, and feel free to contact us.
Yes, absolutely, because that's a very important point. I think that we're all born with that it is an inborn ability. And just like the whole concept of soul school, that we come to this place, we're born into this life on this planet at this time so that we can learn and share and love and come to terms with our own existence. And it being soul school, of course, the test always precedes the lesson, which makes it hard. It's not, this thing called life is not an easy path, but it is certainly very rewarding and fulfilling if we allow it to be. And I agree, I think that our separation from each other is an illusion, that we are all integrally connected and that we each have an impact on every other human individual that we interact with, whether it be on a computer screen or in person or over the phone or, however we communicate. All communication is valid communication. I don't care if it's a text message. It's still a form of communication. And it is something that is so, if we learned nothing else from COVID, we learned what social creatures we are. And from being separated physically from each other, which was for a time during this paradigm shift, the only way for you to show somebody how much you loved them was to stay the hell away from them so that you wouldn't infect them in case you were a carrier that was asymptomatic. It seemed so completely counterintuitive. And yet there was a lesson in, COVID was the test. And now we're learning the lesson from it. So
sociologically, I agree with everything you're saying, Andrea. Sociologically, we are classed in the US and many other sort of countries similar to the US, we're classed as an individualistic society. We are conditioned by society to be individuals, to be independent, to feel like unless you can be whole as an individual, you're somehow not complete.
Yeah.
I completely disagree with that.
I do too.
I think that if you really study psychology and you look at things like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we need a lot of meaningful contact with others to be comfortable, to be content, to be happy, to ascend. And I think that each of you, and I like to think that me also, and Bill and the KGRA network, we are trying to, and I think we're succeeding in giving people a connection that our society doesn't give to them, but they psychologically need, and we're giving it to them. And when they get that connection, it feels so right, so good. And I'm making it sound too scientific, but it's basically all about, we all need love.
Yes.
And I'm going to do a little bit of promoting.
Please.
Every Wednesday evening,
Yes.
In my Facebook Galactic Wisdom group, I have a group meeting, a Zoom meeting, where a lot of the people who are leaving comments here today, a lot of our audience members, we come together as equals. We can all talk, we all get to know each other, we all share love with each other,
Yes.
and we give people the love, some of the love that they need, a lot of the love that they need, and it really matters to people. The messages I get from people,
Are amazing.
their lives have been made whole. They have found real healing a lot of the time by coming to these meetings, and Deb is sometimes there, and Andrea is very often there. And I would just like to let people know that if you're sitting at home feeling a little bit lonely, a little bit isolated, come to those sessions, join the Galactic Wisdom Facebook group, and come to our Wednesday evening sessions and be part of our family. You can get to know us as individuals, and we love you.
We do. No, and everyone, Deb, you and I have talked about this so many times about there are those among us who feel isolated. That really is, I mean, look at the mental illness that has surfaced during this period where especially young people were so isolated, had to go to school from home, couldn't leave, their own backyards, couldn't interact with their friends, couldn't play sports, couldn't even gather and go to church together safely. I mean, it was a very perilous and frightening time that we've been through. And it had a very specific, the word that I am looking for is repercussions. There were repercussions of the pandemic that I don't think any of us anticipated, but it is imperative that we do whatever we can to reach out to those who do feel somehow lost, left behind. No, Bill, all right, again, let me reiterate. Bill's going to end up with like 6 new clocks for Christmas. I'm telling you, I'm going shopping on Amazon as soon as my ass is off this show, because there's no way there's only 5 minutes left. Okay, so for everybody that wants to, I would like to commit and do what I must do, whether that's an extra sister in the house or whatever, next Wednesday night, to do another session with you, Rupert and Deb. I so hope that you can join us, because
I'll do my best.
It is critical at this time of year to lift those up who are downtrodden, who are feeling hopeless and lonely and somehow separated when they're watching everyone else around them, and all the imagery on the television is families gathering together, and all the commercials of and they're home and they're alone. You're never alone. As long as the 3 of us live and breathe, you have a home in our hearts with us. I think that's a very important, if not the most important message of our gathering here tonight. And then, of course, you can also avail yourselves of the spiritual coma that you will slip into when Rupert does his magnificent meditations. They are so beautiful. It's like poetry, like a lyrical, I can't even explain it. And, and I'm like a wordsmith, and I can't find the words to describe the effect that these meditations have on me. And I can say, and I will say publicly, have also had, Deb, what you have sent for my mother on my mother's behalf, it's working. Rupert, what you have done speaking with my mother. Deb talks to my mom. You talk to my mom. It's working. I mean, I didn't expect to have her for Mother's Day. I didn't expect to have her for her birthday, August 24th, when she turned 84. We will have her for Christmas and New Year's and into 2024. And I am telling you publicly right here and right now that the two of you have had an absolutely significant, beyond significant, a profound impact on her health and well-being. It's not just the hospice nurse visits. It's not just the med regimen. It's the both of you that have reached out to her and touched her in ways that no one else has been able to. Well, Erin. Erin does too. Erin calls her all the time. Miss Carolyn. Oh, she's so funny. And she's a healer too. She's an energy healer. I can't express my gratitude to both of you in words, not adequately. But Bill, 3 minutes. Kiss my lips.
I know. I saw it.
3 minutes, and that was put up like more than a minute ago. Okay, right. And now he's laughing at me. Okay, so we have to say goodnight because apparently.
Oh no! And I have so much more to say.
I know, and so we'll do this again, and let's do this next Wednesday. I feel that people really need this, and it brings people hope, and it lifts people up. It's, what better purpose can we serve on earth than to love each other powerfully and well, and that's what we do. And I love both of you with all my heart. And so I will say in closing tonight, thank you both for joining me on A World Awakening. And for those of you who are watching and listening, please know that you are loved, that you are worthy of love, and that you always have a home with us, always, as long as we live and breathe. We feel you, we hear you, we touch you, we heal you. I love you all. Be the light you seek. Good night, everyone.